Orleans football. Nick, what's up, bro? What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you doing?
We doing all right. We doing all right. A bit of a mixed bag of a weekend, right? LSU bouncing back, but because it's rare when you get the full happy weekend. The Saints kind of crushing you on Sunday as they were winning that game until they were not. Now that you've had a couple days to digest Sunday's performance, Nick, what do you think are the most important takeaways that the Houdat Nation should be focusing on?
I think there's two. I mean, defensively, this trend of giving up explosive plays in key moments is something that's really kind of carried on throughout the whole entire season. And, last week it was a talking point with the coaching staff and the players, and they all kind of kept pointing to their previous success in previous seasons, but that didn't help them 2 weeks ago. It didn't help them on Sunday. So, I mean, there's something there that they got to figure out quickly because you just can't have those moments. And it's almost weird because how quickly they gave up that touchdown to Jamar Chase was probably the best thing that could have happened for him in that game because it gave him a chance to get the ball back.
Yeah, that's true.
With 2 minutes and 3 timeouts. But there's a few things here. Like that play should have never happened because they had the ball with a little more than 3 minutes left. You get 2 first downs, you win the game, and they can't do that. And I thought they were a little bit conservative with the approach. And this is kind of one of those things where if you win, it's something that's hailed a little bit, and if you lose, it blows up in your face. Last week against Seattle, they did the same thing in the same situation, ran first down, second down, got a first down, got to 3rd and 4, got a first down. And you look at that approach and you say, well, that was the right thing to do with the way they were running the ball. So it's a little bit of hindsight 2020 analysis, but same thing this week. They got conservative. They ran against a 9-man box on second down. They get to 3rd and 4. Trey Hendrickson blows up the play. Bengals get the ball back. Chase scores, and you're in this situation. So I think that they need to be a little bit more aggressive in those situations, though, because when you play not to lose, sometimes you lose games. And we saw it even happen last year when they were trying to play the same style of football. They lost, I believe, the New York game playing the same way. So I think at some point you got to be able to throw the ball. You got to get first downs, and you got to go into it with the aggressive mindset of like, all right, we're going to get the kill here. And I don't know if they approach the game that way. And I think those are the two things that I want to see different going forward. I want them to put their, foot on the gas a little bit. I understand that both these quarterbacks are probably more win-with type of guys. And you don't want to rely on them to win you games, but sometimes you got to. And it just didn't seem like they trusted the offense to get that done. And, I think they lost the game because of it.
Nick, great new studio. By the way, I mean, the NOF studio is looking fantastic. The new camera, dude, hell yes, man.
It does look fantastic, but who is the starting lineup behind you? Like, I have to know. Like, I see a squirrel and I can't help myself.
Who is that?
Yeah, that's Michael Jordan. Above him, we got the '92 Dream Team. There's a few of them around here. We got the Shaq one where he's dunking on the hoop. Got some classics for sure.
That's my favorite Christmas ornament that I still have from my childhood. Is an unlicensed Shaq. 2-hand dunking, but he can't have magic or anything on the jersey. So it's like kind of vaguely a magic jersey, like a little blue, black, and white. But I think it just says Shaq across the chest. Nick, okay, just one more on the 4-minute offense thing. Because, yes, like certainly they could have come out maybe throwing the ball, be a bit more aggressive, get the first down, wins the game. If you wanted to run the ball, is there anything to like committing to a Taysom package for all 3 downs there? Or is that a little too predictable?
I don't ever think it's too predictable because it works more often than not. So maybe, I mean, it's something they could have done there. In the red zone right before they were snuffing that stuff out. They tried to do like the rollout pass with Taysom and they were all over it. So it kind of felt like coming to that point of the game, like the run game and the Taysom stuff was becoming less and less effective. And again, I think it's kind of, admittedly a little bit BS to kind of sit here and second guess because if it does work, we aren't talking about these plays. And I hate kind of analyzing stuff in hindsight. You get to 3rd and 4, that's a favorable situation. But at the same time, like it just looked so much like conceding. And right before they came out on the field, I turned to Mike Triplett and I said, they're going to go conservative here and they're going to lose the game because of it. And it's like, it was just so predictable. That's how they were going to play it. And it wasn't going to work and it was going to blow up. And it just felt like they should have went for the kill just a little bit more in that situation. And I'm not sure what the answer is, but it wasn't obviously what they did. 3rd down, they did call the right play. Juwan Johnson is open over the middle of the field. They just couldn't block Trey Hendrickson. So it's tough. I mean, it just I think, in a weird way, like it would have been better if they would have went into this game and just got blown out, because we'd be sitting here saying, well, yeah, they were throwing passes to Kevin White. What'd you expect? That's Joe Burrow on the other side. You can't keep up with that offense when everybody's hurt. But they're winning for 57 minutes in this game. So the injured player's excuse just it doesn't ring true to me. Like they could have won this game if they found a way to just manage that end of game situation a little bit better.
And Nick, I'm just still shocked, like going back to Taysom Hill, like how it just changes from week to week. Like you see him score all these touchdowns, but then the next week he only plays 15 plays. And I'm not even saying like right, wrong, or indifferent, but they still just don't have a feel of how much to play Taysom Hill, when to play Taysom Hill. It just feels like some weeks they come in and say, you know what, we're going to do it. Some weeks they come in and they just kind of lose sight of the package that they have for Taysom. Like it just feels like there's a disconnect between what they want to do with him. And as a player, like I can't imagine Taysom Hill week in and week out not really knowing what his role is going to be within the team.
Yeah, two things here. Like one, I agree with that completely. And now that he's no longer a quarterback and you aren't thinking about the future investment and what he could be in regards to that, there's no reason not to get your best, second best, third best player the ball 15 times a game. There's just no reason not to do it. He's extremely explosive. He's a game changer. He's their second best running back. He's their home run threat on offense. He's the spark really right now. So I don't understand why there isn't just so much more built around him. When they were thinking about, future Steve Young or whatever it was, it made sense to kind of be conservative with it because you're looking at a bigger picture, but that's gone. He's in the tight end room now. So use him like a tight end, play him. He's your best player at that position. Second thing they did in this game too is like, I thought Rashid Shaheed, he gets behind the defense. Like, what was it? The first play of the game, second play of the game on the go route. And then they just never run it again. Like I would have went back to that one more time, made the adjustment. Something was off there. He was clearly able to get by everybody. I understand maybe there wasn't a huge package of plays because this is the first week that he's been in the offense. He was sidelined for a lot of training camp with an ACL injury. So I get it if he's not 100% up to speed, but I would have went back to that play that worked early in the game. It just wasn't executed properly. So a couple things where I felt like they could have maybe taken advantage of their playmakers a little bit better.
One thing that is very odd to me, Nick, is if you look at the season from a feel standpoint, you feel like the defense has been very good and kept you in some of these games. You feel like the offense has been awful, but then you look up and I know the offense has been better the last couple of games, right? But still, I think the beginning of the season kind of weighs heavily. But then all of a sudden you look up, what's the offense right now, like 13th or something in points per game, and the defense is like 28th? Like, what's the big disconnect there?
It is a little bit bizarre. And, I think the last couple of weeks, those things kind of got flipped on their head a little bit. But even going to the Carolina game, it's these big plays, man. They just can't stop giving them up every single week. It's something that somebody's hit a shot play on them, and they're giving up points that they typically wouldn't give up. I think the secondary isn't very good right now. I'll take my L right here. Like Paulson Adebo has not played well at all, and he's kind of been a little bit of a liability the last couple of weeks. And I've kind of been like auditing the thought process there and what went wrong in the evaluation during camp. And I think maybe the biggest tell is that he was out there every day practicing, whereas all the other star players kind of had a pass a lot of different days, and maybe he wasn't going against the best guys every day. And the fact that he's playing every day, again, when Marshawn Lattimore's not, I think maybe that was the evidence that we should have been looking at a little bit more closely. So as far as how we got to the thought process of him being so good in camp, I think it was just maybe the competition level was a little bit lesser than we thought overall. But like at the top of routes and that, like he's struggling against faster guys. He can't keep up with them on their breaks. And I mean, that's something that got exploited by someone like, Joe Burrow getting the ball out 1.7, 1.8 seconds. As soon as that break came, he saw it and he was exploiting it. So that was tough for them. So their coverage just has to be a lot better. And I think, not having Lattimore is a huge deal. I think it's going to be a huge deal on Thursday night. I think it's something that they got to figure out how to overcome. I don't think the safety play has been nearly what anybody expected. The tackling's been really, really poor. They missed 10 in this game. The Carolina game that they lost and should have won, they missed 12 or 13 in that game. They're averaging 7.5 missed tackles per game. It's a little bit less actually than last year, but you go back 2 years ago and that was really on point. It was the strength of the team. So that's something that's kind of spiraled a little bit over time. But, I think the range in the secondary is a significant factor. Marcus May brings some of that, but 2 weeks ago, like they just didn't have it. And that's something that they got to figure out how to, cover up in scheme pass. So there's just a handful of things that I think that were assumed to be strengths of this team that have kind of unraveled since the Tampa Bay game. And it's a little bit shocking that they're struggling against teams like Carolina and the Vikings, not to, just comparatively to Tampa Bay, it just seems like that should have been a little bit more of a more difficult game. But I guess over time, Tampa Bay's shown that they're not quite the team everybody thought they were either. So I don't know. Some stuff's coming out in the watch. I just don't think that the defense is as good as it should be. And special teams has been kind of shockingly bad. Blake Gillikin was arguably like the MVP of the team last year. He was a legitimate weapon, flipped the field consistently, and they've lost a game because of him. So there's just a lot of things that should be going right that have somehow spiraled sideways. The good news is fumbles were on point, offensive penalties were on point. So it seems like maybe they fixed that. Now they got to fix the things that weren't supposed to come apart and have.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Well, I was just going to ask Nick about the injury list. It looks like a VIP list to get into the club because it is all of the marquee names. Like it's guys that wouldn't be showing up at the door. They go to the back door. They're on the VIP list. It is the who's who of your football team, and we saw it last week. I mean, there's added names, including Andy Dalton, to the latest injury report. I mean, Adam Troutman, we saw him leave the game. Like, what is the latest with all of these key players for the Saints?
Looks like Kevin White's going to be getting snaps again. I mean, really, that's just kind of where it's at. I don't think Olave should be back. I mean, that's one. He wasn't even listed on the report, so that says he cleared the protocol. I think he was really, really close. He progressed throughout the week. Friday, we saw him limited. They listed him as full. It didn't look like he was full in the portion of practice we were in. So he was close, but he just didn't quite get there. So I think getting him back is a huge thing for them. But, I don't think Mike Thomas is going to play. Marshawn Lattimore has there's a technical term for it, but it's basically a kidney bruise. I think he'll be back after Thursday night. Yeah, I'm reluctant to say Mike will be back after Thursday night, but that's kind of the talk right now. I think Jarvis is kind of in the same boat. I think Andy Dalton will be fine. He people I heard from said he was walking around and looked okay yesterday. It didn't look like it was anything crazy. So I think he'll be able to play. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of star players. I think it's going to be very similar to last week, but plus Olave.
Nick, any prediction on Thursday?
Oh man, I can't pick the Saints in any game until I see them fix the stuff that's wrong with them. And I hate saying this, but I feel like they're better than a lot of these teams they're playing, but they just can't get out of their own way. So once they get out of their own way, I think that they can still win games. I just don't know if they're actually going to be able to accomplish that. The good thing for them is that the leaders in the division are 3-3. So the target might not be 10, 11 wins. You might just have to find a way to get to 9. There's still hope of doing that. But if they lose this game on Thursday night, I think it's really, really tough. I wonder how they're going to respond because I think the way they lost against the Bengals is tough. Like it felt like they should have won that game and then they self-imploded. And I think that's something that they're going to kind of try to have to rally against.
And you still can't forgive the Carolina loss. I mean, it was Matt Rule's one win in 11 games before he got fired. Okay, last one here, actually, Nick. Your just thoughts, reactions to watching CD Deuce do what he did in prime time. I know it caused a lot of pain to Saints fans. Like, I don't know how untenable he was making the situation, but it seems inexcusable now that you let that all go down like it did.
I take this both ways because I'm looking at him during that game and I'm thinking, man, like they could use him right now. I look at how they gave up 9 catches in the slot on Sunday, 9 out of 10 targets, just wide open basically the whole time. And you're thinking about him in that situation. And you're wondering, like, could there have been something that could have happened to change this? On the other hand, I've spent 6 weeks talking about accountability and how they need to have more. And in the instance where they showed accountability and made someone an example of kind of threatening their way of doing things and actually having consequences for that, it would be a little hypocritical to look at that and go back and say, they shouldn't have done this. But it's okay that they're letting everybody else get away with stuff. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. I still think with the new coach, you got a guy that's kind of acting out a little bit, causing friction in the locker room. It is important to get ahead of that. But yes, I think there is an element of you're looking at everything they've done now. And I think it's all on the table for questioning because there's a lot of stuff that feels like it was maybe not done and managed the right way. I think they assumed too much about the success of their team. They operated as if, consistently everything was going to be okay. They're moving their chips in on this season. This is a season where you're supposed to win. And, outside of the Olave move, a lot of the stuff they did has not worked. So no. I wouldn't criticize anyone for questioning it. It just, for me personally, I can't sit here and say that they're being too easy on everyone and then, shake my finger at them in this one spot. But I do wonder if there was a way to fix that, and maybe if they could go back in time, if they would try to handle it a little bit differently.
A lot of pressure on DA to get this thing fixed before his past becomes the main talking point that anybody is going to mention. That past record. Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football is a site. Mike Triplett now on the team. Go sign up today. If you're a Saints fan, man, there is just no better site for all your coverage. Pelly's starting up too soon, Nick. Got to be a bit excited. I know y'all are starting to do more and more work on the Pelican front as well. We're looking for 5-5 in the first 10 games. Give me 5-5 in the first 10, and we will be ecstatic.
I need 7-3.
No, get the hell out of here, dude.
7-3.
Please. Just avoid going 2-8.
7-3.
7-3. Guys. When's the last time the Pelicans started 500?
I don't care. 7-3.
Just don't blow
Region
the season.
needs some hype, man. They need something down here. So just start with the excitement and maintain it through the whole season.
Zion
it would just be
said,
awesome.
I'm playing Wednesday.
5-5
That's
is
great.
hype.
We're 7-3. No, that's hype for you.
Oh, y'all are
mediocre
crazy.
is not hype for us.
Y'all are crazy. All right, Nick. You have a great day, dude.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick Underhill at Nick_Underhill.
How about the setup? I know you mentioned it.
Yeah, it looks great.
I mean, that camera. Well done.
Great camera. Well, and people are like, it's better than the studio cameras. Well, this studio has been around for a while now, right? And so camera technology improves
Danny's got
drastically.
This flashlight on top of me. I mean, maybe that has something to do with
studio.
it. Danny built it. He's the one who actually, the renderings, I saw him. He did it.
Well, way to go, dude.